and don't hesitate to wave above the bright lights I'm looking into. Without further ado, please join me in welcoming back Mark Forster.
To mention two names before, and you always forget someone, I'm so sorry. There's our casting director, Pam Dixon, and our host supervisor was incredible, Jonathan Shore. I'm so sorry, because I do something walk back and say, oh my god, I missed those two. Pam, you should stand up, but Jonathan as well. If you guys are so good. Alright, thank you for being here.
Do you have some guests you want to
Yes, I wanted to just bring the cast out again. Danny Houston, please. Then Wes Chadman, Yvonne Cholosky, Anna Riley, and our executive producer, Ron Coleman as well.
Thank you all for coming. I'll start with one question. Your cast is wonderful. Everyone seems perfectly tailored to the role, but what really stood out to me, because it didn't seem predictable, was the casting of Jason Clarke. And because he often plays a bad guy. We often see him as a bad guy, and yet he's a wonderful leading man here in a very complex role. Can you tell us about that casting? Of him and of anyone else?
Yes, Jason actually was the first one on board. He read the script and met with me and said, look, I would love to play James, and I'm a huge fan of Jason. I think he's one of the best actors of his generation, and he's a real men's man. He's not like, he's a real guy, and I think he's an everyman, sort of like Jimmy Stewart was, and it's like you just like him, and he played a lot of bad guys in the past, but I think there was something for me. I wanted to show the different kind of shades, and it's obviously about a relationship that is slowly sort of falling apart, and in that sense, it was important to me that to see the different shades, and I felt he would represent that in an incredible way.
He's really great in the lead role, or in one of the lead roles. I'll open it to the audience if people are ready. Go ahead up front.
Hey Mark, so during the movie I was doing a lot of second guessing of myself, and since you're here, probably clarify, so I only have a couple yes/no questions.
Just one question, please. I want to ask other people.
Okay.
I'm second guessing that since it's my childhood, so I'm the same boat.
So it was,
He hasn't asked you.
He hasn't
Just
asked
a moment.
me.
Go ahead, please.
We will. As soon as the question is, please decide which one.
Was Jason Clarke's character, was he really manipulating the drops so that she does lose her vision, or was that?
Did he manipulate the drops? Is that your question?
Yes, he did manipulate the drops. It was interesting in the edit itself. There are things to make it completely clear, but I thought it was enough indicated. A lot of men try to be controlling. Not that I'm that type, but because I'm a director, the non-controlling director type. As in my cast will speak to that later on. But yes, we did control the drugs.
I want to make sure I don't ignore people in the balcony, so if I don't see you, wave. Go ahead. Yes, please, in green. Good question. Why did you choose Thailand and Spain?
When we originally wrote the script, we always wanted to set the idea was to set in an Asian city that she's more alienated than and she's not just like visually impaired, but also audibly alienated. And Thailand, Bangkok has a very good health system and a very good eye center as well. And a lot of actually Americans fly over to Bangkok because it's almost cheaper to have procedures there than do it in the US, including flight and hotel and vacation. So that's one of the reasons, and it was then the perfect fit visually. And Spain came about that I was thinking as Sean and I wrote the script, said we both love Spain and thought it would be a right fit. We wanted the sister to live also in a different country because we live in such a global world and it's such an interconnected world that you can be anywhere in the world and you meet. You know, it becomes more and more sort of everybody is anywhere. It's really interesting how it has changed in the last decade, and that was one of the reasons we wanted to a European country, and we felt Spain would be the sort of the opposite also in regard to casting Miguel, because I wanted the relationship obviously between Anna and Miguel to be sort of a counter to their relationship. And the sort of Latin kind of blood, which you actually obviously saw.
Another one up there, go ahead.
Stunning visual images in your film. Can you please talk about the process and how you're thinking about the visuals that you created in this study?
So she's taken especially by the visual language, and can you discuss the cinematography and perhaps the production design a little bit and how you decide on that look?
I always feel like, and it's like obviously cinema is a visual language, and I felt like for myself, I did so many different kind of movies, and I said, how can I make a movie that's, for me personally, feels original, but at the same time I can push myself to it if it succeeds or fails, because I think it's really important as an artist to push yourself to I don't want to do ultimately a project if I know it will 100% succeed. You always have to see if it's going to work or not, and that pushes sort of the language forward. So I felt also visually to approach it in a way that you sort of explore, someone who's impaired to blind, and I interviewed a lot of people who sort of went through that and read a lot about it, and he just had to describe people who lost their sight. Obviously, it's very different than someone who was born blind. So someone who is visually impaired and almost lost their sight or is almost blind, how they perceive the world and how they feel about color, light. So we did a lot of testing, and Janelle, who also introduced before here, did a lot of research and work on that, and we all sort of like then worked on it together and said what is sort of the right visual language. And then Matthias, our DP, who was here too as well, it was a constant finding the right balance, that it's that we're with the character and it doesn't take you out of the film. It's not too much, but we're still pushing it, and it does feel real from what our research has done. So it was a mixture, a combination of all.
Go ahead, I'm down.
How did everyone come on board the project, and what was it like working with Mark?
Only say nice things, but how did all of you come on board, and what was it like working with Mark?
I just wanted to go to Thailand. I met Mark many years ago in Los Angeles when you just were starting, really, before we actually directed a feature film, and we used to hang out together. And then I saw his brilliant work, films like The Kite Runner, etc. That's all I needed was a phone call knowing that Mark was making a film, and I hardly really needed to read the script. Having read it, I could only imagine what the film would be like, but I shared the film with all of you guys tonight for the first time, and I was really spellbound by its visionary, such a sensory experience, and also about how, in a way, we love the imperfections about the people that we love, and how important that is to us sometimes, and in a way, how in relationships we don't want people to advance, and how it has a sort of cosmic appeal. It's such a large and beautiful work, and I'm so honored to have known you before you started working, and to know you now again and to have collaborated with you.
I really wanted to work with Danny, by the way. This was very dream come true, so I'm glad you accepted.
I met Mark. I did this show called Hand of God with Mark and Ron, and away working with Mark. He's one of the most talented guys that I've ever worked with. And we became friends on that show, and one day we were on his porch and he told me that he wanted to create the sensation, be able to understand what it would feel like to be blind, to not be able to see, and he wanted to do it visually, and create the presence of not being able to see. I was so intrigued by this idea and what he had put together. And seeing it tonight, for me too, for the first time, I was blown away and was not expecting to be so moved by what he created and how he did it. And so that's how I got on board.
I too have watched the film for the first time tonight, and it is wonderful. Mark, I congratulate you. It's beautiful. I met Mark on this movie. We hadn't worked together before, and I had a wonderful time working with Mark. It was kind of like a vacation / job in Thailand. No, and I too didn't expect it to be so emotional watching it and dangerous as well. But again, I congratulate you, Mark. It was wonderful tonight.
I auditioned for Mark in Los Angeles, and I had always been a huge fan and was so excited just for the opportunity to read for him. And then when I read the script, was so it was not what I was expecting, and that is one of the things I admire so much about Mark as an artist. Is his curiosity knows no bounds, and every film he makes is so wildly exploring a new world. And as we saw tonight, that's what he did, and it was just a total honor to be a part of it and to work with him.
So we both were attached on this TV program, Hand of God, for Amazon, and went through the process of getting it sold and then making the pilot. And you know, please don't judge me for what I'm about to say. You know, there are directors and there are filmmakers. It was pretty clear watching the way Mark took this very tricky, very complex, very layered piece of material in Hand of God and turned it into this living, breathing organism that all 5 of your senses were affected by. That's filmmaking. So it was right at that time where my producing partner, Brian Wilkins, and I were forming this company, Bringing a Pair of Pictures, and Mark starts describing what has to be purely done on screen. There's no other place that you can do what you saw tonight than in cinema, and that is to, you know, create a panoply of sound and image, and a little bit colored by ideas, but mostly sound and image. It was so fascinating, and we just managed to figure out a way to help him turn the thing into a reality. And tonight was the first time I really saw the film too. I saw early cuts of it, and I still can't catch my breath. It's exactly what he described.
By the way, he said to me, he told me, I don't remember any of these shots were early cut. This is stunning. I said, yes, that was not early cut. We worked on it hard since we saw the first cut.
But I mean, what you ultimately arrived at here, as somebody who was you know, on the idea side of it many moons ago, this is exactly what you described. Was this thing that was very sensory, very unintellectual, and yet the ideas in it, you know, sort of pounded you because the delivery is so original and theatrical. And I'm kind of, I bow to you, my friend.
I'm just thankful for all of you, and obviously everybody, and I really mean it for everybody's here, because it's, you know, and probably people here, it's getting trickier and trickier to get original new work off the ground. It's mostly, you know, prequels, sequels, which you know, they're fun to watch, but I think we need a lot of different flavors. So I think this festival presents that, and I think it's always crucial to have the audience like you guys tonight to support that. So.